All right. Well, first, obviously, important things first. Jack Morris and Alan Trammell getting in the Hall of Fame is well overdue, long overdue, and kind of made my day when I saw that. Lifelong Tigers fan, so I've been complaining about Trammell not being in there for years. So, Michigan weekend was interesting. There was a lot of really positive things that came out of it, and thank goodness. Things turned around and we had a good second game. But the positives on the whole weekend is I thought we worked hard and we tried to apply some stuff on Thursday night, the first game. It was one of those weird nights where, hey, the legs weren't there. And we got through the first period, and sometimes things turn, and then you find some energy. And for whatever reason, whether it was a Thursday in travel or classes or whatever it is, sometimes physiologically that happens in games where it's just half the team just don't have the legs, and we couldn't really accomplish what we wanted to. So and there's really, hey, for a Michigan game, there's no excuses for that, but it does happen. But I did like the way the guys responded, obviously, on Friday, and that was a game where we did everything with a lot of energy and a lot of commitment, whether it was right or 100%. You can make up for a lot of errors playing that way, and with the building the way it was, the result the way it was a great way to finish out the first half of our collegiate schedule. We have the exhibition game coming up this Saturday, but for us going in, momentum-wise, psychologically, was a great way to finish, and some good validation, I think, for the players, and also maybe for the people that were in the crowd. It was, the students were great, and the rest of the fans were outstanding, and everyone shows up for a Michigan game like that. That's something that hopefully there's some good carryover, and they understand where we're at in the process, and we've got a pretty resilient group and a pesky bunch of young guys that are going to play hard and be entertaining. So there's a lot of positives, and we're going to try and build on that this week and going into break before the Great Lakes.
Dan, a few questions for you. You talked about the guys not having their legs in game one. Was it rigorous practices before? Was there anything you saw that led up to that?
Yeah, not really, and it's one of those things that it just happens, and I don't think we did have a little bit of a it's a Thursday, so a little bit of a short week, and we played the week before, but we looked at it, and you look at practices, and we kind of tapered it right the way we normally do, and guys looked really, really good on Tuesday, and Wednesday was kind of a quick walkthrough, and they were sharp, and when your top 6 or 7 guys look like they're skating in mud, we don't have much of a margin for error, and if we have one area of our game, regardless of what it is, we're going to have a tough time winning a game. But our legs are essential. Like, I think we're in pretty good shape. I think we skate fairly well as a team, and when we play that way, we've got a chance. But if we don't, it's hard for us to win a game.
Dan, when you think about this team, even your seniors had never beaten Michigan at home. How big? I mean, anytime you beat Michigan, whether it's checkers, hockey, football, it doesn't matter, it's big. But how big is it because of that reason?
Yeah, that was kind of an amazing thing, and I hadn't realized it till somebody brought up, hey, that was the first time since March of 2014. I started going back through my mind, and Ed Minnie and Pavlik had played for me, and they were playing for me at that time. So I was like, hey, nobody in this room had won at home. So we talked about it yesterday. We had a little skate and a little lift on Sunday, and kind of went through it. And I think, for the young guys to understand what a rivalry was, I think they got a lot of it in that first weekend in terms of, how we played on Thursday and how disappointing that was, for all of us. And then the emotional aspect of it on Friday night to come back at home and win with a crowd like that and the students being there. And I know the guys, they took 2 laps by the student section, which was kind of cool for them to be able to do that. So I think in terms of, maturation and understanding what this rivalry is, you have to go through it, and you have to have some defeats to really understand it, I think, but also, hey, having some success and understanding the magnitude of it around campus. And you hear from everybody after you win a game like that at home, and and coaches and people around campus. And I was at the basketball game on Saturday, and you start to realize, and hopefully the players do, how much it influences everybody around campus when you beat Michigan.
Yeah, and this week, kind of an off week if you want to say that, but you're playing the U.S. National Team Development Program in Plymouth. What does that exhibition game, what kind of opportunities does that provide to you?
Well, I think there's a few things. From a scheduling standpoint, if we don't have that game on December 16th this year, we go from December 8th till January 1st. That's almost a month between games. Then you go and GLI is a big thing. You want to go and win that tournament. If you haven't played in a month, you could be really rusty, and it'll be a little bit like Thursday night, a little bit of a crapshoot that we don't want to get into. So that's important. I think from a recruiting aspect, it's important. I think playing that team, I think being in front, not that they have a lot of uncommitted guys, but I think getting in front of that program and having them see us play and where we're at as a program, I think that's really important to get back on their minds and be involved with them. So I think that's good. And I think for some of our guys, especially the young guys, will probably get a little bit more ice time than they have. And we've had some games like even Friday night where we were able to give some guys some rest in the game and try and recuperate. So we'll recuperate some guys and try and move some other guys along the line. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it. And then on a personal standpoint, obviously I was there for 7 years, and it'll be fun to go back there and see those guys. And I coached all those young men last year, so they sweat a lot and bled a lot for me, and it'll be fun to see where they're at.
Piggybacking off of that, usually the under-18s come here. This is the first time that Michigan State's going to Plymouth. Is there a sense of novelty for the guys, and then maybe even for you, now being on the other side of this here with Michigan State, as opposed to the national team where you were for the last 7 years? Any sort of feelings on that?
Yeah, it'll be different. I think it'll be a good experience. It's not a long trip. It's not real taxing. I think they're going to have a good crowd from the people I've talked to there, and certainly I was on the other side of it before, and once we moved over with USA Hockey, once we moved over to that arena, it was important from a fan base standpoint to get some Division I games in there, and I think Coach Anastas was one of the first guys to do a deal where they come here 3 times. That's a good revenue opportunity for us. It's a free game. We get season ticket holders get into games and all the ancillary benefits. So to go down there once every 4 years, I think is a good thing to do, and I think it's good for hockey. That's a great market. I think underestimated. USA Hockey moving into an OHL team's old arena and taking over that market from a college hockey aspect is greatly undervalued. So I think we benefit by them being there, and I think it's a good thing that teams are going back there and playing.
Obviously, it's a huge deal anytime you beat Michigan, but the Michigan win was also win number 8 for a program last year that only won 7 games. Is there any extra value in that when you hit the semester break, knowing you've already surpassed last season's win total? Are you on track to where you want to be in year 1?
I think you use everything as motivation, and everything can be a teaching moment for your players. And certainly, that's something that we've talked about and said, hey, listen, we've moved past this, and you need to reinforce things that you're teaching, that you're learning. And I've said this pretty much every weekend. It's a lot easier to reinforce things when you have some success. So certainly that's a good step forward. Now you start working on some other things and moving ahead of that. But I think for the guys that were here last year, and that's quite a few of our 25 guys, that's real important, and it's a good sense of accomplishment. And again, you're trying to get things done. When you see progress, I think it makes it an awful lot easier.
Excuse me, couple of questions. Going back to playing down there, Izzo doesn't get to take his team to play guys, and neither does D'Antonio. How big of a deal is it to show them, hey, this is what we're recruiting you to come here and be part of?
Well, it's from the mentality of the guys there, I think it's really important, and you can see the schools that play them a lot. That's where a lot of their guys end up, and it's no coincidence. It's really good. And I think for our guys that are here that played at the program, and hopefully in the future, there'll probably be more and more of those that they can go back and you're trying to. There has to be a line of your culture from your past to the present and leading into the future, and I certainly think that's a way that you can establish some of that. And this is what we're doing here. This is a great place to be, and it's a logical progression for what you want to do. And we have to be in that conversation. And if we're not, then if you're going to try to make a sale to a young man and you're not even on their mind, you're starting way behind everybody else. So I think it's important that, we're down there. They know what we are as a program. We have some people here now. There's a little bit of a buzz, and I think even within, the kids there, that they're starting to say, hey, Michigan State's doing some pretty cool things, and we've had some good conversations with some young guys, and hey, you just got to keep that progress moving forward.
Letherman's progress, I'm certainly not going to speak for you, but I can say I'm very pleasantly surprised at how good he's doing. Can you talk about his progress?
Yeah, he's been outstanding, and we knew coming in that that Ed and John were going to have to be good, and Ed had a great camp, and really leading up into the beginning of the season was doing really well, and didn't have a great couple of first kicks at the can, and John has, and he's kind of taken over in that sense, and that's not easy for Ed, but for John and for the team, it's been a good thing. But he's worked extremely hard. He's very calm back there, and I think it's starting to allow our guys to play a little bit better. When you think that every shot is going to go in, that's a hard way to play, and I've been on teams like that. You're just too tight. Bob Johnson used to say the team that makes the most mistakes wins the game. That's because you're free, you're playing, you're doing things. You know that if you make a mistake, that hey, if the defense don't bail you out, that the goalie will bail you out. And John's been able to do that, and I think it's made us a better hockey team, not just from him stopping pucks and keeping us in games, but from a confidence standpoint.
I'm sure coaches don't reflect at the halfway point of the season, but you are right about midway now. So just reflect for us, if you would, on your dream job and what this has been like and how much fun you're having. Is it harder than you thought, or where are you at in this process?
You know what? I give the guys on the team an awful lot of credit, because it's been. I don't want to say it's been easier than I thought it would be, but it's been a lot more. A lot more fun. I thought that I knew where we were at and where I wanted to get us to, and I knew, when I said in my press conference there was going to be a lot of pain in between, and maybe result-wise there has been some, or periods of the game where it's not there, but the mindset, and we talk a lot about that with our athletes, the mindset that these guys have had and the work ethic that they've had, it's been fun coming to the arena every day, and they keep working, they keep getting better. They haven't. You know what? There hasn't been a lot of excuses, and it's been a blast. So I give them all the credit in the world. The staff's done a great job, and you know what? We're moving forward, and it's not always pretty, but I do feel that reflecting on it, I think we are moving forward weekend after weekend and learning things, and the experiences we're going through, you have to go through, and to get where we want to get to isn't going to be easy. But the guys have made it incredibly pleasurable.
Just to follow up, I mistakenly called you a catcher a few weeks ago because you were a shortstop. Is that where your love for Trammell came from?
I liked Alan Trammell. I mean, that he and Lou Whitaker. I mean, that was those were my guys way back when, and I liked the way Jack Morris pitched. I threw a lot of sliders and thought I was a power pitcher. I hit a lot of guys too, so I liked the inside of the plate like he did. But I think Jack Morris would have been a really, really good hockey player. I mean, his mentality was right up the line. But no, I love Trammell, and I wore 3 for a little bit. And I was more of a Bobby Clark number 16 guy, but sometimes we didn't have that, so I'd wear number 3. So yeah, I've always been a big Trammell fan. All right, thanks guys.